Well, hi, Chris Kerber with you here. We're here with Marty Rogers of Sage Auction Solutions. And Marty, thanks for having us in today. I think a lot of folks are going to be kind of interested to get to know what Sage Auction Solutions is all about. Let's start with you personally, though. 25 years in this business. How have you done it in this business so successfully?
Well, Chris, I appreciate you having us in, but I tell you what, it's mostly about focusing on the customer. You know, that may be a cliche, but really it is. It's focusing on our client so that we can make sure that we're meeting their expectations. We want to make sure that we know what their goals and objectives are before we go into a project. We ask a lot of questions. If we can get those questions answered, we know we can meet their expectations, then you're going to be successful. It doesn't hurt that we've got an award-winning marketing team. You know, we do a lot of intense marketing, a lot of saturation marketing. You know, we call it in the business, we've got a time certain date of sale, which means auction day. So we have to make sure that we get all the people at that sale prior to the auction. You know, it doesn't do us much good to have somebody show up at the auction 2 days after it's over with. So it's all about marketing and meeting our customers' goals and objectives, and we try to make sure that we do that.
So if one of your customers has some real estate that they may be wanting to sell, why would they choose the auction route?
Well, you know, the auction route, there's a lot of different reasons, but we try to focus on, one primarily to start with, and that basically is time. You know, time's money, and, we've always said time's money, but it really is when you're talking about an auction sale, because what we're looking at is we're selling time. Because we can sell a property in 30 to 60 days, versus right now, time on the market could be anywhere from 18 months to 2 years, depending upon what type of property you have. So if you look at that and you say, well, what is our holding cost? You know, we've talked to clients where their holding costs were $24,000 a month. So you figure if they're going to hold it for 10 months before they sell it, well, it's not hard to put the math to that. So if we sell it in 60 days versus 10 months, 12 months, 18 months, what can we reduce their holding costs for? One of the things we focus in on is our net selling price. You know, your gross selling price might be a little bit lower, but your net's always going to be higher because we're reducing holding costs. So time is the number one factor. The other factors that we look at is that we're going to solve the pricing problem. Because if you're going to list a property in traditional listing method, what's the first thing you got to think about? What am I going to list it for? What's the list price? If the market's moving down rapidly like it is right now, is where do I list that property at? You know, we're going to talk about appraisals in a minute, but boy, appraisals are pretty hard to be very accurate right now. So we've got that problem of price. Well, through competitive bidding, we can solve the problem of price because we bring all the bidders together at one time. They're all competing for the property. The price is moving up through that competition process, and we solve the pricing problem. That's number 2 on the list. The third part about it is that we can create some urgency for a property that they don't have right now. I mean, why would anybody want to buy a property at a list price when they really don't want the property all that bad? I mean, nobody's really buying properties right now. So we can create some urgency through the auction method that is not there. So basically it's time, solving the problem of price, and it's creating some urgency for a property.
Let's go back and recap the net versus gross for a minute here. So the bottom line is somebody's going to sell a property. They turn around and say, what am I going to list it at? Let's say they just to figure out what price they want to list it at. Well, if it takes them a certain number of months to sell it at that price versus what you guys might be able to get a lot sooner, those months figure in against that bottom line, and you guys are the ones that can spell that difference out for them.
Oh, absolutely. You're absolutely right. And that's one of the advantages that we bring to the table is that we're really time sensitive with this, and we can help them take advantage of the market. Now, the market may be moving still lower, which we think it probably is, so why not sell sooner rather than later? Boy, that just makes sense, doesn't it?
Well, and then as well, through that auction process, if I heard you right, if the market's moving lower, you guys can create, through the auction process, a lot of times, almost an upturn in it when you automatically, through that process, create some competition.
Yeah, Chris, one of the things that we talk to people about is really rejuvenating a property. Property might have kind of gone stagnant on the market. Well, now through this auction process, through our intense marketing and through the excitement of an auction, is we can, re-stimulate the market for that property and regenerate some interest that simply isn't there anymore.
What are the different types of auctions?
Well, there's many different types of auctions. What I'm going to focus in on is probably 3 or 4, but the number one that we talk about is absolute auction. Absolute auction means the property is going to sell to the highest bidder regardless of price. Okay, so that means that no matter what the high bid is, that you're going to own the property. The number two is we sell with a non-disclosed reserve selling price. That means that you have a set price that you'll release the property at, but it's not disclosed to the public. There's some advantages and disadvantages to each one of these, but that's the number two. Number three is we have a reserve selling price with a disclosed reserve selling price, and that's sometimes called a minimum bid. So you've got a disclosed minimum bid that you're going to release the property at when the bidding is above that. We also have a sealed bid method, and which means that you're going to submit written sealed bids to us by a deadline. All right, and then the fourth one that we talk about is a combination of a sealed bid with a live auction. So in order to participate in a live auction, you must submit a sealed bid, but then from there it moves to a live auction. Those are the main methods.